Hey guys, how's it going? It's a little bit late at night, which is okay. I think it'll be cool to just hang out with a couple of you. So, I told my friend I was going to read her a bedtime story. Now, I must confess, just between me and you, don't tell her. I already had this planned anyway. So, this is dedicated to my friend because she's a sweetheart. And I keep thinking, this is 2020, and there's a really good book that I've read a few times, and I'm in the middle of reading it again, and it's called 1984. And there was a part that I was reading, and I'm thinking, I think this might be applicable. Now it's kind of negative and it's kind of a downer, but I hope this can offer some encouragement to you all because unfortunately, we need to make sure that we can somehow or another make 1984 fiction again because it's getting kind of scary that so much that you read in this book is becoming true more and more. The ministry of truth, the ministry of love. And then I put it up on my other channel in a community post. Susan has new rules now that if your comment is not so nice, that they'll censor it or just take it down. And I want you guys to know on this channel and my other channel, there's many comments that I get now that are in the notification where I see it. But then when I go to click on it, it's gone. Now, us creators have a tool called YouTube Studio. So I go into Creator Studio. That's where I can find your comments listed. Now, there's a held for review section, and then they're actually not in there either. Our communication's starting to vanish. Seems like what used to be up is now down, and what used to be down is now up. And again, this is all negative, but I seriously mean it as encouragement. And I hope I can somehow encourage you all because you guys sure encourage the heck out of me. And if it wasn't for you guys, I definitely wouldn't be doing these videos. So I'm going to read this and see what you guys think. If you guys have this version, this is the Signet Classics. This is the cheap version. If you have not read this book yet, I definitely recommend that you get it, okay? And again, this is for one of my good friends who certainly has been encouraging me a lot. So go get them, babe. We'll all be in here together until, well, I'll just read. So I'm going to start off here on page 256. It's in chapter 3, I think it is, subsection 2. So it starts off, and this is O'Brien talking to Winston. If you guys are familiar with this book, you know the characters. He said, "Do not imagine you will save yourself, Winston, however completely you surrender to us. No one who has once gone astray is ever spared. And even if we choose to let you live out the natural terms of your life, still, you would never escape from us. What happens to you here is forever. Understand that in advance, we shall crush you down to the point from which there is no coming back. Things will happen to you from which you cannot recover if you lived 1,000 years. Never again will you be capable of ordinary human feelings. Everything will be dead inside you. Never again will you be capable of love or friendship or joy of living or laughter or curiosity or courage or integrity. You will be hollow. We shall squeeze you empty, and then we shall fill you with ourselves." He paused and signed to the man in the white coat. Winston was aware of some heavy piece of apparatus being placed behind his head. O'Brien had sat down beside the bed so that his face was almost on level with Winston's. 3,000, he said, speaking over Winston's head. To the man in the white coat, 2 soft pads, which felt slightly moist, clamped themselves around Winston's temples. He quailed. There was pain coming, a new kind of pain. O'Brien laid a hand reassuringly, almost kindly, onto his. "This time it will not hurt," he said. "Keep your eyes fixed on mine." At this moment, there was a devastating explosion, or what seemed like an explosion, though it was not certain whether there was any noise. There was undoubtedly a blinding flash of light. Winston was not hurt, only prostrated. Although he had already been lying on his back when the thing happened, he had a curious feeling that he had been knocked into the position. A terrific, painless blow had flattened him out. Also, something had happened inside his head. As his eyes regained their focus, he remembered who he was and where he was, and recognized the face that was gazing into his own. But somewhere, or Other there was a large patch of emptiness, as though a piece had been taken out of his brain. It will not last, said O'Brien. Look into my eyes. What country is Oceania at war with? Winston thought. He knew what he meant by Oceania, and he himself was a citizen of Oceania. He also remembered Eurasia and East Asia. But who was at war with whom? He did not know. In fact, he had not been aware that there was any war. I don't remember. Oceania is at war with East Asia. Do you remember that now? Yes. Oceania has always been at war with East Asia. Since the beginning of your life, since the beginning of the party, since the beginning of history, the war has continued without a break. Always the same war. Do you remember that? Yes. 11 years ago, you created a legend about 3 men who had been condemned to death for treachery. You pretended that you had seen a piece of paper which proved them innocent. No such piece of paper ever existed. You invented it. And later you grew to believe in it. You remember now the very moment in which you first invented it. Do you remember that? Yes. Just now, I held up the fingers of my own hand. You saw 5 fingers. Do you remember that? Yes. O'Brien held up the fingers in his left hand with the thumb concealed. There are 5 fingers there. Do you see 5 fingers? Yes. And he did see them for a fleeting instant before the scenery of his mind changed. He saw 5 fingers, and there was no deformity. Then everything was normal again, and the old fear, the hatred, and the bewilderment came crowding back again. But there had been a moment. He did not know how long, 30 seconds perhaps, of luminous certainty, when each new suggestion of O'Brien's had filled up a patch of emptiness and become absolute truth. And when 2 and 2 could have been 3 as easily as 5, if that were what was needed. It had faded out before O'Brien had dropped his hand. But though he could not recapture it, he could remember it, as one remembers a vivid experience at some remote period in one's life, where one was in effect a different person. You see it now, said O'Brien? That it is at any rate possible. Yes, Winston said. O'Brien stood up with a satisfied air. Over to his left, Winston saw the man in the white coat break an ampule and draw back the plunger of a syringe. O'Brien turned to Winston with a smile. In almost the old manner, he resettled his spectacles on his nose. Do you remember writing in your diary, he said, that it did not matter whether I was a friend or an enemy, since I was at least a person who understood you and could be talked to? You were right. I enjoy talking to you. Your mind appeals to me. It resembles my own mind, except that you happen to be insane. Before we bring the session to an end, you can ask me a few questions if you choose. Any question I like? Anything. He saw that Winston's eyes were upon the dial. It is switched off. What is your first question? What have you done with Julia? Said Winston. O'Brien smiled again. She betrayed you, Winston. Immediately. Irreversibly. I have seldom seen anyone come over to us so promptly. You would hardly recognize her if you saw her. All her rebelliousness, her deceit, her folly, her dirty-mindedness, everything has been burned out of her. It was a perfect conversion. A textbook case. You tortured her? O'Brien left this unanswered. Next question, he said. Does Big Brother exist? Of course he exists. The party exists. Big Brother is the embodiment of the party. Does he exist in the same way I exist? You do not exist, said O'Brien. Once again, the sense of hopelessness assailed him. He knew, or he could imagine, the arguments which proved his own non-existence. But they were nonsense. They were only a play on words. Did not the statement, you do not exist, contain a logical absurdity? But what use was it to say so? His mind shriveled as he thought of the unanswerable, mad arguments of which O'Brien would demolish him. I think I exist, he said wearily. I am conscious of my own identity. I was born and I shall die. I have arms and legs. I occupy a particular point in space. No solid object can occupy the same point simultaneously. In that sense, does Big Brother exist? It is of no importance. He exists. Will Big Brother ever die? Of course not. How could he die? Next question. Does the Brotherhood exist? That, Winston, you will never know. If we choose to set you free when we have finished with you, and if you live to be 90 years old still, you will never learn whether the answer to that question is yes or no. As long as you live, it will be an unsolved riddle in your mind. Winston lay silent. His breast rose and fell a little faster. He still had not asked the question that had come into his mind the first. He had got to ask it, and yet it was as though his tongue would not utter it. There was a trace of amusement in O'Brien's face. Even his spectacles seemed to wear an ironical gleam. He knows, thought Winston suddenly. He knows what I'm going to ask. At the thought, the words burst out of his mouth. What is room 101? The expression on O'Brien's face did not change. He answered dryly. You know what is in room 101, Winston. Everyone knows what is in room 101. He raised a finger to the man in the white coat. Evidently, the session was at an end. A needle jerked into Winston's arm. He sank almost instantly into a deep sleep. Have you guys read this book before? Have you read that section? Somehow, as crazy and as demonic as that sounds, Big Brother, the Brotherhood. Earlier in the book, they talk about the ministry of truth, the ministry of love. This was a work of fiction by George Orwell that was written a long time ago, but for some reason, when I was reading this yesterday, I said, I want to share this with people and just see what people's take is on this in 2020. As Gretchen Whitmer has locked down several times. If you remember earlier this spring, it was illegal for me to cut grass. You could go on a boat, but not a motorboat, only if you used oars, because, of course, she tried to put implementations of the Green New Deal into controlling the China virus. But was it really the China virus she was trying to control, or was she trying to control you and me? And a lot of your governors are no better. I know in California, they're getting ready to be put back on deep lockdowns again, as if the quarantine they have and the shutting of their restaurants weren't enough. In Michigan, our restaurants and much of our schools have been shuttered. 15 days to flatten the curve, 15 days to slow the spread. Now here we are over 8 months later, and Gretchen in Michigan said 2 weeks. Well, that was supposed to expire tomorrow, and now she says 12 more days. And she just looks at us, and she laughs. Well, she thinks she has us in that apparatus that Winston was in, and I believe she thinks she is the man in the white coat with the shocking apparatus and the syringe. This is what tyranny looks like, people. And we can't say we weren't warned about it. We've seen it happen in real life. So many different regimes that were great societies fell into absolute despotism. We look at this fictional work, which again was supposed to be fiction, and we need to make it fiction again. And although the message I was reading to you sounds kind of dreary, we can't lose our Julia. We can't lose our sense of who we are, because at a certain point, as you saw in this short excerpt I read, Winston saying, well, I occupy space. I have arms. I have legs. I must exist. And O'Brien said, no, actually, you don't exist. What about Big Brother? He says, will Big Brother ever die? He says, no, he won't. Now here in 2020, well, do we exist? Oh, I think so. I mean, I'm here right now and I see, wow, I'm actually surprised. There's so many good people in here right now. Gotta be past your bedtimes. I say we exist. Will Big Brother die? Well, guess what? Evil prevails when good men do nothing. And they put a lot of tools in place when this country was founded. As Reagan said, a shining city on a hill. We've had patriots in modern times. I mean, President Trump, make America great again. I know some of you are going to get mad because you don't like Trump, and that's fine with me, actually. I don't care who you like, but it seemed like there was a little bit of encouragement with some things, and now a lot of things there's not so much encouragement. But I want to encourage you all because, again, evil prevails when good men do nothing, and that's like you and me because there's not really that many of us nowadays. Look, I don't care if you're old or young or gay or straight or a Democrat or Republican, but we need to get it together really quick. You know, I'm not a smart enough person. I'm not going to be your George Washington, and I'm never going to profess to be. I'm not going to be able to lead anyone anywhere, but I'm just a regular guy, and I need people like you for encouragement, and I'm assuming you guys need a little bit too. So I try to offer a little bit on here, you know. What's interesting is this. It took 56 people. They were called the 56 signers, and they were all very wealthy people. And they had a lot to lose. Materialistically, they probably had a lot more to lose than all of us put together. But money comes and money goes because, like Ronald Reagan said, and I think this is a great quote from him. I'm going to mess it up, but you guys know the quote, right? He says, "You're not born, okay? We are not born with it. We are not born with patriotism. It's only one generation away. So it doesn't matter how patriotic or how much your parents did for America. It matters what you do for America. And then guess what? We're all getting older. When we perish someday, it's going to matter what our children can do. Right? Freedoms aren't just born, Reagan said. They're not just inherited. You don't just pass them on through your bloodline. Now, it matters. It matters, right? That our forefathers fought the Revolutionary War, and those 56 people signed the Declaration of Independence. 56, that's all it was. Now, that was a death sentence. And it's absolutely necessary that they did. And it's absolutely necessary that Old Hickory fought off the British again in 1812, 1814. The Civil War, a lot of men died. Spanish-American War, World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Desert Storm, Operation Iraqi Freedom, all the new current versions of that. Those are all important. Nobody died in vain, but that's not enough. See? Doesn't matter how heroic your grandfather was at Iwo Jima or on D-Day in Normandy. It totally matters, but I think you guys get the context. It doesn't matter if we drop the ball because this is not inherited. You don't get this from your grandfather or from your father or your mother. It's up to us. And then our children and our children's children. Because once Big Brother completely takes over, and I would wager it's getting pretty darn close. It's getting a lot closer than I ever thought I would see it in my lifetime. It can be too late. And the Declaration clearly states, paraphrasing again, guys, I don't read from a script. I think you know that by now. People are prone to suffer, evils and things while they're sufferable. But it's at that point when despotism reaches a point where it's just too much and they can't take it anymore. I don't want it to get to that point. I don't want it to get to that point, but I'll tell you what. It's getting really, really close. I see so many people who are propagating. Nothing to see here. Don't worry about it. You question one little thing, and they have this 10-second canned answer that literally requires the listener to be dumber than the speaker. Nothing to see here. Just shut up, you're dumb. I'll tell you what, some of the stuff they're saying every day right now on the mainstream media, which is the fake news, is literally just as ludicrous as in this excerpt I read where he's asking him how many fingers is he holding up. He's got him convinced it's 5, but sure as day, it's actually 4, but then he says it could have been 3 and it could have been 4, but it was still going to be 5. Yeah. If you guys enjoy this type of thing and you want me to read from this book more, I'll come back on and do this again. I didn't want this to be a terribly long stream, but look, guys, there's a virus. It's from China. China said they'd take us out with ever firing a shot. Now, it's real as far as people get it. They get sick. But at the same time, there's so much propaganda with it, so much conditioning, so much brainwashing. I never thought that they could take a free people, lock them down. Cover your face, whether it violates your other health conditions, because we still have other health and we still have mental health. And there's still thousands of different things that people die from besides just the virus. But there were people who would ignore everything else. They would ignore their sincerely held religious beliefs. Mental health, again, a real thing. Like, when's the last time you saw somebody smile? I'll smile at you guys right now. But in public, you look up and you just see the mask. Then at 10 p.m., the bell rings and you have a curfew. Now, about the only thing good is they're closing down the schools. So maybe there'll be a little bit of time where parents can talk to their children again and try to get rid of some of the public school indoctrination. Maybe you can weed them of the ministry of truth and the ministry of love and all these ministries that they talk about in here. Seriously, we need to make this fiction again. This was supposed to be fictional book, even though I look at it and I'm like, what the heck? This looks like I'm reading this and I'm thinking, huh. Now, this is just after I read the news where Gretchen says 12 more days. When is going to be enough? Is it ever going to be enough? Every time she locks down Michigan, our cases keep going up. Now, I'm not a doctor, but I'll tell you this. If I touch something that's hot and it burns, I take my hand away. And if I touch something extremely cold, it also burns and I take my hand away. You guys know what I'm saying? I won't even pretend to give medical advice on here. How could I? And I'm not. But I just say that everything they do just keeps taking more and more rights away. And the virus counts just keep going up, and they go up, and they go up, and they go up. And people's morale is going down and down and down. And suicides are climbing just as fast as the whatever it is. It's called so many things I can't even remember. I think there's about 35 names for it now. But whatever that's out there. It keeps going up and up and up. People's relationships are falling apart. I hope all of you and your relationships are good. I'm serious. Call your friends. They might not be doing okay. People are losing everything they worked for right now. You're seeing husbands and wives where one is of the mask and one's not. One's of the governor and one's not of the governor. And it's one of two things. Either they never knew each other very well to begin with, which is possible, or maybe people change, or maybe they just have people so scared right now that they don't know how many fingers are being held up and they don't know what's up or down, and they've just lost all their self-worth as a person, so they just go to these leaders, these despots, to try to tell them what to do. I don't know. You know, this was a country of Paul Revere, George Washington. By the way, in their day, there was a pandemic, and it was called smallpox. It had a 40% mortality rate. And Washington had smallpox at the time of the Revolutionary War. Look it up. I'm not lying to you. I have no reason to. George Washington crossed the Delaware against the biggest armada, the ramparts, the British Navy, which was probably, if you put things into perspective, time for time, more powerful then than the United States Navy is now. No disrespect to anyone in the Navy, but I think you guys know what I mean. This was a world superpower. 56 people signed a document. Smallpox started a few years before the revolution and continued all the way till 1790. We created this great experiment on self-governance, a republic of the people, by the people, for the people, to promote amongst these life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The governments are instituted amongst men, right? That the government was only put there to preserve our natural rights, God-given rights. And when they go against those means, for us to abolish it, and they listed a bunch of grievances, they were coming to take their guns, and they're coming to take our guns right now. That's what they've said. Biden said, if you elect me, I'll appoint Beto O'Rourke as my gun czar. And then Beto said, yes, I'm going to take your AR-15 and your AK-47. Now, I hope they don't. I'm trying to remain optimistic, but they said they would. With all due respect, Donald Trump wasn't as good on guns as I would be if I was president. I think a lot of you guys feel the same way, but I digress. He said the redcoats are coming. Lexington and Concord. Shot heard around the world. It's called an experiment. It is. It was an experiment. A grand experiment. No government had ever been set up like this, instituted amongst men. The government has always been and still technically does work for us, but do they still? Are you guys reminding them of that? I think a lot of you are watching this channel, but maybe encourage some of your friends. Look, I don't want Lexington and Concord like tomorrow, right? I'm a pretty peaceful dude. I just like to hang out and kind of a quiet person that likes to hang out by myself, really. But so I don't want that. Help me, guys. Seriously, help me hash this out here. I don't want, I'm not saying I want Lexington and Concord. I don't. But you know what else I don't want? I don't want 1984. I don't want Gretchen Whitmer. I don't want Gavin Newsom. Wolf, if you're in Pennsylvania. DeWine, if you're in Ohio. I could go on and on. I don't want that either. I don't have the answers, guys. I don't. But, I mean, I really want to talk about this because it's literally getting to be crazy. I mean, it says right here, and this is supposed to be a fictional book, but when you read stuff like this, it's like, whoa, wait a minute. He says things will happen to you from which you could not recover if you lived 1,000 years. People have said that if the United States falls, this republic, because Ben Franklin, right after they got done forming this country, okay, right afterwards, and they had just drafted the Constitution, a lady walked up to him and said, sir, what have we? Do you guys remember that? What have we, sir? A monarch or a republic? And he said, a republic if you can keep it. And if you look at history, if we lose this republic, it's probably going to be another 1,000 years before there's something like this again. That's what people have said. Chances like this don't come up very much. We were born into it and we've had it easy. Now, a lot of you guys have had rough lives. I've had a lot of problems in my life. But at the same time, generally, in society, the United States of America, we've had it pretty easy. And I get that good times make weak men, right? And bad times make strong men. So hopefully it's bad enough where people can step up and get with it and try to save the republic. And again, I know this is kind of negative, but I seriously mean this as encouragement to you all. So I'm going to read the comments real quick and say goodnight to you guys. I don't want to stay on here a terribly long time, but wow, there's 36 people in here. I didn't know there'd be that many this time of night. Let's see who's in here right now. Rick Nieper, what's happening, man? Mel Burry, David Cancelberry, Joe Morgan. Rick was on my stream last Friday. I had a lot of fun, Rick. Thanks, man. He's a good one. Reptile guys, Alan Kunesh, Joe Morgan, Jeremy. What's happening, Jeremy Wilson? See you tomorrow, Jeremy. Susan Wiki's in the house. Hi, Susan. She's in the chat, literally. Gary Weisner, what's happening, man? Thomas Teague. David Cancelberry. I might repeat some of you guys, but whatever. I never said I was a professional at this. The Texas Outlaw, Michael Syons. What's happening, man? He has a hardbound copy of 1984, and I'm not surprised. Look, guys, this is the cheap version. It's called the Signet Classics. George Orwell. It's the paperback. It says on the back like $9.99, but I guarantee you it's like much cheaper than that, okay? You can find this cheaper at your bookstore if those are a thing anymore. If they're not. I think Gretchen shut them down in Michigan. Or online. The Tone Knob. We need to come together and undivide. I'm confident that if we do it right, we can teach the left to respect the 2A. You know what? I think so. If we do it right, I don't have all the answers, man, but I think you're right. Well, we'll figure it out. I'm trying. You guys will help me, won't you? Radon, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, happy hour. Oh, yeah, just for the late nighters. Susan Wiki says, this is awesome. I like it. Did you guys see Susan's new rule for if you're just joining me? I started off at the beginning saying there's a new YouTube thing where you leave a comment. If Susan says, I don't like your comment, you either get warned about your comment or it gets deleted outright. Now, here's what I can tell you guys anecdotally from my 2 channels. I'll get an alert. It wasn't Michael, but I'm going to make it up because he's my friend. Michael Syons has left a comment. It didn't happen to you, Michael, but humor me. Michael Syons has left a comment. 2A EDU is the best channel ever, he said, which that part's true. But then it said, but screw Susan Wiki. So I went to click on it to give him a heart, and it was gone. So if you're a creator, you have YouTube Studio, right? So I go into Studio, expecting that it's put into this special folder that we've always had in there called Held for Review. That's the undesirables, which although I love all of you to death, let's face it, a lot of us are probably considered to be quite undesirable. Anyways, you look for it and it's not even there. So I'm telling you, I'll get the notification for comments. Now, this isn't all of the comments, but it's like 1 in 10. So I'm not deleting your comments. That's going on right now. Just started the last couple days. I did a community post over on another channel about that. What else have we got here? I'm having a lot of people, Tone Knob, asking me about guns too, and I totally believe you. That sounds about right. David Candleberry, we need a massive rally in Lansing. Whitmer thinks she owns us now, and she does, actually. She does think that. She just keeps doubling down and extending lockdowns and EOs. I know, after the Supreme Court already ruled them unconstitutional. And my friend Catherine Henry, who you've seen before on my channel, and I've been on hers, and she was one of the people litigating that case. And it happened. Riley Quinlan, what's up? Says, y'all have a serious problem with Whitmer. Yes, we do. I'm like a half hour behind in the comments, guys, but bear with me. I like your comments. Jeremy Wilson's, yeah, he's been to the rallies with me in Lansing, some of them. He's been there, he knows. And we should be. Joe Morgan, I've been up a while. It's actually soothing to hear 2A read to me. I feel special. You're special, Joe, of course. Yeah, Millbury. They aren't planning on giving your freedoms and rights back once they take them. That's it. That's what I'm saying. They've already taken so many of them. We need to use the few we have left and say, stop, no more. It's done. You work for us, because they do. I know they don't think so. I get it, but they do. Michael Syons, what's going on, man? He's been offering me a lot of encouragement too, man. I listen a lot more than I watch, which is fine for your videos. I'll have my Bluetooth while I'm working with my hands. Phone's over there. I put you in my playlist. So even if I don't leave comments, man, I've been watching and listening to all your videos, and you've been offering me some encouragement. So I do appreciate that on your channel. Don't tread on Rick. That's why we own guns. Well, yeah. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It didn't say for hunting, collecting, although we love to hunt and collect, like, duh, right? This is America for now. No. The being necessary to the security of a free state. Not optional, not preferred, but like literally necessary. It's literally one of the most necessary things that we have. And the founding fathers knew it because they didn't give us that right. They didn't give us that right. These are natural rights from your creator. And this is America, and I love religious freedom too. For me, it's the Christian God, okay? It might not be the Christian God for you, and that's fine with me, but somebody created you. You at least believe in laws of nature. Laws of nature, God, whatever God it is for you, supersedes any man and any government. Because I'll tell you what, nothing's sure in life. Nothing. The only thing we know for a fact is all of us will die someday. And our Creator will take us from this earth, right? So of course that supersedes the government. And the founding fathers knew that, right? But in the Federalist Papers, they said that actually, if men were angels, we wouldn't even need a government at all. But men are not angels. So that's why they made provisions for a government. But they knew that if there was a government, there was a chance it could get corrupted. And that government could become despots. They knew it when they started it because it's literally in the second paragraph of the Declaration. They say we're forming this new country based on the preservation of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And then just a couple sentences later, they say, but when it goes contrary to those, right, to abolish it. So they knew. They knew the whole time. But they put in our Bill of Rights, and these are not positive rights, meaning these aren't things that they gave us, right? No. Again, natural rights, your creator, endowed by your creator. Endowed is a pretty powerful word. And here's the thing, they were given to you whether you wanted them or not. And it's up to you whether you want to exercise them or not. But it tells the government shall not be infringed. The First Amendment says Congress shall pass no law. You shall not receive excessive bail, shall not receive cruel and unusual punishment. And it also said in the 10th Amendment that the federal government's powers were actually rather limited, and the rest of the rights belong to the states and to the people. Because this is a country of the people, by the people, and for the people. I love all of the Constitution, and I love the Declaration. I've been reading the Declaration of Independence every day lately. People are like, why the heck is he doing that? I don't know. It just comforts me a little bit, I guess. I've been reading the Bill of Rights almost every day, too. And I love all of it. I really do. It's a work of art, okay? And that actually is like, doesn't even nearly give it 100% of the justice it deserves to say it's a work of art, like, duh. But seriously, it's a work of art, and I read it, and I'm thinking, they're all important. They're all almost equally important, but somehow, just this much. I consider the Second Amendment to be the most important, kind of, right? Because I believe the Second Amendment was truly put there in case they try to ignore or deprive of us all the rest. And I believe we have been deprived of many of our God-given or naturally given rights. Cassandra Marie Heitzig, how's it going? We've got Rod Brown. What's happening? Freedom doesn't sleep, and I'm still awake. I'm just going to say hi to you guys. I said I'll get off in 2 seconds, and then I go on a rant, but people can turn this off whenever they want. That's the great thing about it, right? I'm not the guy in the white, okay? I'm not the guy in the white coat just clamping you guys down with a apparatus on your head, okay? So you guys are still okay. I promise you. I wouldn't hurt you guys too much. Fluffy 10mm Jeep guy, what's up, man? Are you in Michigan, Tone Knob? I don't even think me and you agree on everything, do we? We might, but I think you're still a pretty good dude. I don't agree with everyone on a lot of things. Maybe we do. If I'm getting you mixed up with someone else, that's fine. But I think you've left me a couple comments like, I don't know. And I'm like, we can still be friends. Riley Quinlan. Yeah, I talked about that in my stream. That was in Thomas Jefferson's letter that he wrote. And he said, the tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. And it's its natural manure, is what he said. He also said in that same letter that he was surprised in 1787, right, that the United States was 11 years old. And when you multiplied it times the 13, right, colonies, he said, we've gone collectively 150 years and have not had a rebellion yet, an armed rebellion. He said, let them take arms. That was in the same letter as this famous quote. And he also said, and I'm paraphrasing, he couldn't imagine us going 20 years without an armed rebellion. Yeah, we've almost gone 250. Thomas Jefferson would be shocked. I think he would be. Now, for some reason, they hid Michael Science comment. I'm just now showing it 20 minutes later. I don't see anything wrong with this comment, but this just goes to show you what happens here. I had to manually override. Passive aggression is just as violent when it is done on a massive scale. Everyone better realize that there will come a time. Oh, I get it why. Yeah. Defensively, Susan, the tyrants. Violence is all these commie scumbags understand. Yep. Unknown user, 11:30 p.m. on a Monday plus 2-hour talk equals long day Tuesday. I'm not going to stay on 2 hours. I'm getting off in like 2 minutes. But you guys can watch tomorrow. If you leave, it won't hurt my feelings. I get it. It's really late. Let's see here. And again, like Michael said, the time has not come yet, but make no mistake, it's coming. I'm not telling you guys the time. I'm just telling you, look, Lexington and Concord existed. Okay? I do not want Lexington, Concord. But I sure as hell do not want this. What gives? I don't want this. We can't have this. This is sick. My governor is sick. The despotism in Michigan is sick. It's wrong. Leanne, how's it going? She says, my mom said this would happen 40 years ago. Everyone thought she was nuts. But she was right. She passed in 2017. Well, God rest her soul. Sounds like a smart lady, and I'm sure that's where you got your intelligence from. Leanne's a smart woman. I know her too. Nomadic Star Droppings, how's it going? We must join or we will die. Yeah, they had the flag that said join or die. JB and Water too. What's happening, man? Thanks. I did not know you were on. It was a surprise. Like I said to start it off, I told my friend, I said, you want me to read you a bedtime story? Don't tell her I said this, but I already had this planned anyways, but I wanted to make my friend feel special. I'm good at that. Too good for my own good, I was recently told. Jeremy Wilson, over my dead body. Right on, man. They have to pry him from me before I give him up, and that's good. Tone Knob says they're not coming for our guns. It's fear-mongering, and it's a sad look. We're better than that we fight, and we will win. The two ain't going anywhere. Well, like I said, though, and you know I'm right, Tone Knob, they did say it, didn't they? Hold on. This is where me and you disagree a little bit, but it's okay, bud. We're cool. Joe Biden said, if you elect me, I'll appoint Beto as my gun czar. And then Beto said, yes, I'm going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. He did say it. Now, I think what you're saying is they're fear-mongering, and there's a lot of fear going on. I get it. It's easier for them to control scared people. Yeah. Pretty sure companies got money, so they keep salaries and payroll. Yeah, earlier this year, that's run out. This is like the fourth time of lockdowns or partial lockdowns. From what I understand, the restaurant owner in Michigan right now, that money's gone. Again, from what I understand, and they're not getting that anymore, actually. I know people right now Literally, I have a friend that's a waitress that's out of a job right now, like literally out of a job. So that money all ran out, and it always runs out. It always runs out. Mao said that if you elected him, he would feed you. That was one of his main claims to fame. And then they don't know how many, but probably, over 50, some people say 75 million people that died under the Mao regime in China. And a lot of it was like walking up and executing them. But actually, a lot of it, much of it was with mass starvation. And so he came to office promising to feed people. So, yeah, the government promised businesses checks that they were getting from their own money because, see, the government doesn't just have its own money. The government is us, and it comes from our tax dollars. So, yeah. The unemployment's dried up. It's all kinds of stuff's dried up. Now, I'm sure someone somewhere has learned how to scam the system, and they're getting 10 times more money than they ever deserved. And that happens. But again, in the Federalist Papers, they said right away, but men are not angels. They said that if men were angels, we'd need no government at all. We could have it true. I think they actually used the word anarchy. Anarchy has tons of different connotations, but in the sense they meant it would just be no ruler at all. If everyone was an angel, you wouldn't need anybody that had any type of echelon over another person. But they said no, they couldn't be. And it is a fine line. I get it. People aren't perfect. Some of you probably hate me right now. Hit the thumbs up button, somebody said. Chuck R. Thanks, Chuck R, for reminding them. Hit the thumbs up button, guys. It's free. The Politically Independent. What's happening, man? There's a movie based off George Orwell's 1984. There is at least one. You're right. Matt Morrison, what's happening, Matt? Like boxers say, it's easy to punch a punching bag. Yep, difficulty steadily increases when you have a game opponent. You're right. Yeah. I remember Mike Tyson years ago said, everybody has a plan until I hit him. I always thought that was kind of a good quote, too. I'm quoting Mike Tyson. I don't know. I thought that was a good quote, though, seriously, when he said that. Sean Penn, it's Pine. Sean Pine, just buy a shotgun, he says. Yeah, that's all you'll need. Just fire 2 blasts. Right, Leanne? Get out there, fire 2 blasts on your back deck. I told Jill, if you hear a noise, just fire 2 blasts. And then he said, if someone's at the door breaking in, just fire right through the door. And actually, people did that. Look it up. I'm not going to lie to you guys again. Half this stuff I have to preface it with, I'm not going to lie, because I wouldn't even believe someone if they told me half this crap, but it's true. There were several people that listened to then Vice President Biden and did that and actually used the Joe Biden defense. And as far as I know, it's the 2-3 people who actually tried that as their defense lost. So, but he did. That's seriously what he said. If they're at the door, just fire the old shotgun right through the door. And there was a couple people that actually did it, and they said, but hold on a minute. The vice president said just to fire right through the door. And they said, and you listened to him? Manslaughter, homicide, whatever the charge was. Walk the plank. You listen to the VP. Now walk the plank. Let's see here. I'm Joe Biden, and I'm running for the United States Senate. Right, Chuck R? That's exactly what he said. Actually, true. Yeah, Leanne said, where's the $1.5 billion of fraudulent unemployment that Whitmer paid out? That's like I said, so many people couldn't get. But then other people got like infinitely more than they deserved. I know there was like one couple I saw that was getting prosecuted. Maybe there's more. Who knows? But that's how things work in life, isn't it? A couple buy a shotgun. The Civil War was an armed rebellion. Yes, it was. But, yes, it was an armed rebellion, but not in the exact sense, because it wasn't a whole rebellion of the United States to throw off a tyrannical government. It was a division, hence Civil War. So, yes. You guys are saying, 136 years. Yes, you're right, but not exactly the same thing as where it was the whole United States of America against the British, right? This was like, I'll give it to you. Just not exactly in the same vein, though. But yeah, it was definitely an armed rebellion. No questions asked. Oh, JB and Water 240 watching and no thumbs downs. Now you can see whom cares. I'm going to take a screenshot at 12:04 and realize these are actually my true friends, okay? So I love all of you guys, right? Donald Trump said the 1917 pandemic ended World War II. He may have said that. He may have said that. I have no idea. I'm not surprised. Why wouldn't he say that? Ooh. Yeah. Matt Morrison says I've heard the DC got a good chunk of the money allocated for PPP. I know a lot of the PPP went to very large businesses. So this is what happened in Michigan, and I assume in a lot of your states, it would be a franchise. And I'm just going to make this up. I don't even want to say a real company because I don't want to like defame someone accidentally. Let's just say the Acme Company, right? You guys know from the cartoons, Acme. Okay. So the Acme Company, to qualify as a small business, you had to have a certain number of employees, revenue. So this Acme Company may have owned 150 different individual units, right? Each one of them separately on their own 2 feet applied. So they would just end up applying for it 150 times under each of their subsidiaries. Now, on another level, there could have been a guy that owns franchises. Sometimes you'll find people with a lot more money than me. God bless them. It's America, but people with a lot more money than me that own like 3 gas stations, 7 McDonald's, 2 Wendy's, a Taco Bell, and a Burger King. They own all of that collectively under Patriot EDU Holdings. They would go through and get the full amount for each one of their 9 separate individual businesses. Now, some people would say that's totally right and it's fine. Other people are like, hey, I only own one little business and it only has like 2 employees. And like we have families and need to eat too. But the money was all gone because the guy that owned 9 businesses was able to funnel it through a certain way. That's what people said. I'm trying to be very careful. That's what people said because I'm not an accountant. I haven't seen their bank accounts, but a lot of that was reported. A lot of it. Pillbox Bunker, what's happening, man? Ryan Smith, good night, man. Leanne, well, thank you. You ran for office. Rick ran for office in my local area, not too far from here, and that's been encouraging for me too. So I appreciate your encouragement. I really do. I appreciate all of your encouragement, actually. Chuck R. says, my boss is guilty of fraudulent charges of the system. Hey, it's going to happen. It's going to happen, right? Somebody said earlier, I can't remember who it was, that basically, anarchy could be fine if so many people weren't nuts, but a lot of people are nuts. A lot of good people, though. I mean, tonight, let's just say everyone's probably pretty good because I'm reading the comments, right? But let's face it, everybody's not good. There's all kinds of terrible people out there. That's just the way it works. But we need to have encouragement, though, and we can sit there and focus on all the negativity and all the people that we hate, and they might deserve to hate. We certainly deserve to be angry right now at a lot of things, but I think we deserve to be encouraged and have good fellowship with good people, and that's why I'm glad I get to hang out with all of you. So on that note, it's been fun. I went way longer than I thought I would, but I don't know. I'll catch you guys soon. By the way, for another channel you guys might know of, I have one recorded. I have to let it upload. Then it's called the algorithm. So they're going to get to go through and mess with it 6 days from Sunday. And then I'm actually going to get off here in just a second and record some more videos. And now all the people coming at the very end. Come on, man. Susan Wiki says the real Susan is messing with my ability to stream. What's happening, Jose Cameron? How you doing, man? I just saw you over on another channel in the comments. Pillbox. again. It's happening, Pillbox. He's a heck of a guy. Thanks again for what you did the other day. I can't tell you guys the details. I was stuck out of town. Needed something tended to at the shop. There was an accident where it would have taken me 4 hours to get back, and there was like nobody in the world that could help me, and Pillbox drove all the way out here. So you're awesome, dude. Thank you. How's it going, Amber? How you doing? I'm going to send you an email tonight, Amber, actually. Rudy Finney, what's happening, Rudy? How you doing? Texas Outlaw still here. I was just getting ready to get off because it's really late and you guys want to go to sleep, but then like some of the best people just showed up. Are you kidding me? Ozark, Rudy, Amber, Terry Strobel just got here. 44 thumbs up. Thanks, Tone Knob. That's awesome. All right, guys. I got to get off of here. But if you just got in here, don't feel bad. You can go back and rewind. And I read you a bedtime story for the first 15 minutes about something that's very disconcerting. But the goal was like, let's read this. Let's look at how this applies in Michigan, Pennsylvania, right? If you live in New York, California, Oregon, others, maybe then we can use it for some encouragement, all right? So, in time to give the thumbs up. Thanks, Terry. Look, I'm going to say this. I've said it on this other channel before, but on this one, I'm just going to say it at risk of, oh, gosh, I don't have any thumbs downs, they said. But hold on. I love all of you, but hold on. The Michigan people, just a little more. Come on, guys. Michigan people, we need to get together. We need to get back into Lansing again soon, so let me know what I can do to help. And I still like all of the rest of you in all the other states, okay? But come on, Michigan people. The rest of you, though, you guys have done this so much in my chats. Seriously, though, get to know each other. If someone says Nevada here, and then someone else says Nevada here, Kentucky there, at least get to be pen pals with each other, because when they shut us off and shut our communication off, if they do, I'm saying Susan's new policy, she's now deleting comments. It's good to know people. You know what I mean? So I always encourage you guys to get together. All right. I go live randomly on here. And yeah. Jared DeBoer was watching Tap Rock and Roll's latest video and saw you were having a going live. Have to rewatch later. And I watched her video today, and it was a really good video. So I would suggest that to all of you. All right, guys. Montana forgives you. I love to Montana. Love to all you guys. I'm in Michigan. What can I say? Our governor sucks. What can I say? Vidya Puritana. Hey, y'all. Hope you're having a good night. We're having a great night. Y'all don't have to go home, but you sure have to get the heck out of here. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. And have a good one.